here's the position of the foot approximately at mid-stance. You can see the pastern is descended. As we go towards breakover, the cannon bone becomes less vertical, is tilting forwards. It's tending to drag the pastern up with it, and slowly but surely the fetlock angle is going to open out. And eventually, when you get to this point, you start getting to the breakover itself. So what's happened to get to this point is actually all the forces on the leg are reducing. So this opening out of the leg is simply helping to drive the animal forwards, but there's not actually a great amount of force on the leg at this point. But once we get to breakover, then there's the potential, depending on the conformation of the foot and the conformation of the hoof itself, for increasing tension in the tendons right here. Because when you get to here, if this foot is so long that the toe is staying on the ground and the leg is still going, there's potential for excessive tendon tension while you're doing that. Then the foot is going to flip right off the ground, and if there's any tendon tension there, it may flip the hoof off the ground so hard that you can get damage to structures below the pastern. So most of the injuries, if they do occur in this region are probably not the worst that the foot could have, either the tendons or the bones. But if you can avoid them, avoid them. Where the other part of a long delayed breakover comes into play is if the foot is delayed from leaving the ground, it's got to be accelerated forward very, very rapidly. Essentially, the animal, if I can move my shoulder in, the animal has to really accelerate that foot forward and use a lot of muscular energy in its shoulders to do that. That's a potential for injury further up the leg in areas that should be totally unrelated to what's going on in the foot. What can be done to ameliorate the forces, to reduce the amount of forces so they're not causing injury? That's really difficult. There's two ways the forces can injure. One is simply the amount of force, which we've already talked about, but also the repetition. Because you're repeating this, as I said in an earlier video, 150 times a minute at a racing speed, whether you're a standardbred or a thoroughbred, or coming down off heavy jumps repeatedly, that repetition can eventually cause what's called fatigue fracture, where the strength of the bones in particular becomes less and they fracture more easily. It's like take a piece of coat hanger wire and bend a piece of coat hanger wire. You'll feel it get hot, but eventually just bending it like that will cause it to break.